get organised for race 25. This is the Fuso starting grid.
And from the pole position will be Will Davison, the second of 3 for him for this venue for 2012. Well done, Will. It's an amazing achievement. Jamie Whincup alongside, then Van Gisbergen and Lee Holdsworth, the teammates for Lee. It's the best qualifying for him since Western Australia. Mark Winterbottom and Garth Tander, we saw those boys down on the grid there before. We're looking forward to the renewal of that battle. Jonathan Webb's under investigation from some of the events of race 24, and so is David Reynolds for that matter. We spoke to James Moffat. Best race performance for him in the previous race, so he's really found some form here. He's enjoying the circuit, the car's working well. Rick Kelly, that oil leak drama for him in the previous race, he's there having a battle with Fabian Coulthard. Michael Caruso, when he first dropped the car on the road yesterday, was very fast in the first session, but he hasn't been able to repeat it after the 5th placing on the timesheet after practice number 1. Further afield, Steve Owen was the victim of some push and shove with David Reynolds in that previous race. There's Jason Bright and Carl Reindler. The new dad, Jason Bright, welcoming baby boy Lennox, as I said earlier in the broadcast. Dean Fiore, Michael Patrizzi, David Wall, Taz Douglas. I select Holden Commodore. Next is Tim Blanchard. He's subbing for Todd Kelly, who'll be watching us back in Melbourne at the moment for Jack Daniels Racing, and different livery on the car this weekend. Then Greg Murphy, who had some troubles earlier in the weekend, engine change for him.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the real challenges from that qualifying session, that if you had a bad qualifying, you got a bad start position for the 3 races. As we go on board there with Russell Ingall, celebrating the 500 races in V8 Supercar Australian Touring Car Championship history. Dave Reynolds, as we've said, was a mighty performance, a real standout at Bathurst. And Jamie Whincup now just pulling up to the line. This is a very, very important start on the Formula 1 grid.
Grabs neutral there, so he gets his feet clear of the pedals. He's found his position inside the starting box. Remember, the last start was a great contest between both these guys, Will Davison and Jamie Whincup, down to turn 1. Remember that Jamie was pinched on the inside, had that little mid-corner slide. Will was able to hang on the outside. Quite a number of drivers, I noticed this in the previous start, have not gone far enough into their boxes, but they're obviously happy to give away a few metres at the start. So we're set. This is race number 25, V8 Supercars, Abu Dhabi. Another sprint race. 12 laps the journey, but it's soft tyres all round this time. And we're racing. Great start again by Whincup down the inside. He's got kilometres an hour on Davison, and he shoots to the lead for turn 1. Van Gisbergen drops into 3rd. This time it's a cleaner encounter from the 2 leaders through 1.
A good job there with Davison, who got through there. A big spin. Not sure that Steve Johnson got hit from behind, and a very lucky escape for him in 90 degrees in front of the field. Davison did a good job through turn 1 and has had a big run down the hill into turn 5. Look at them, 3 abreast into turn 5.
New section of racetrack. Top 3 have already got a nice handy gap. Van Gisbergen's gone with them. Already straight away the drivers will notice, even on cold tyres, with the high surface temperature, they'll come up quick to temperature and pressure, and the cars will feel very different to the way they did for race 24. It's Whincup leading from Davison, Van Gisbergen, Holdsworth. It's the gap that you can see back to Holdsworth, then Winterbottom and Tander. Another gap back to Slade and Reynolds. Here's David up on the outside in the green Botlow Falcon. James Moffat on the outside there of, is that Webb or Patrizzi? I think it was Webb. It's Webb, and he's actually had to go off the racetrack to hold position there. Now past the support paddock area. And it's very tight between the top 3. Turn 11, and a little chink to the right.
Sort of an awkward chicane, isn't it?
Yeah, this part of the track is very difficult for our cars. They're big and heavy, wide, so 11, 12, 13, 14 is tricky for them. They can open them up a little bit more now around the back of the marina. Some big gaps, so there was clearly some awkward congestion through turns 2, 3, and the run down the hill on the opening lap. Whincup's just opened a margin just in the last 300-400 metres.
Van Gisbergen looks very fast again, and Moffat hits that curb on the inside, runs wide. Webb now on the outside into turn 20. Couldn't get that done there. He'll try to do the crisscross. Try to get back on the inside. He's had a dive, so's Coulthard. Gee, that was close then with Fabian up the inside of Jonathan Webb. So Whincup, Davison, Van Gisbergen, Holdsworth, Winterbottom, Tander, good start. Slade, Reynolds, Moffat, Webb, Coulthard, Courtney, they got it together last race. So they've been together the whole time, and Lowndes is 13th.
Winterbottom chasing Holdsworth. It's so awkward, the transition between turns 2 and 3, and now Frosty down the inside. Nice job. And he's made that one stick. And Garth Tander runs with them and actually grabs the spot. Awkward at turn 7, he's out high and wide. Lee's hanging on the inside. There's the margins, the top 4 at the moment. A little bit of contact. And Holdsworth moves over to the left, but he's going to have an ideal run down the inside now on the run to turn 8. Garth chasing him over, trying to pinch him down there, because the little direction change at 8-9, if Garth's in the right spot, could actually favour him. Lee's trying to stay in there, and he is. So that's exactly what I was talking about. So staying wide there, you can afford to be up high and wide on the run, provided you don't drop back.
And we saw Tander do that to Lowndes and Winterbottom in the previous race. So Lee Holdsworth, in terms of racing quality, now gets another dive. This is into turn 11. They really struggle for front brake temperature after that massive stop at turn 8. Winterbottom sneaks away from this group with Tander, and up the inside goes Dave Reynolds at turn 14. That's Slade, and this is this great fast section looking back from Mark Winterbottom towards Garth Tander and the Toll HRT Commodore, and this is this area where you battle to stop at the marina. You go right and then a double left in under the hotel, and leads us back onto the Formula One pit straight. On board now with Dave Reynolds right behind Tim Slade. Pretty lively from 4th through to 8th in that phase of the race. You see James Small, the engineer, on the left-hand side there for Dave Reynolds.
So fastest lap, Will Davison, only 1/100th of a second in it over Jamie Whincup, and it's officially 0.8 of a second between Whincup and Davison. Look at this, Courtney down the inside of Rick Kelly, puts him on the dirty line. That makes it hard for him in the mid-corner, so Kelly looking for the crisscross on the exit. Couldn't get it done. This is the awkward transition between turns 2 and 3 as we go back to the replay of the start. You can see it was just a storming start for Jamie. Not a lot of wheel spin, and by the time he grabbed second gear, he was clearly quicker than Will. Shot down the inside. They were 3 wide back in around about 10th position, and a little bit hard to see there, but clearly for Stephen Johnson, rotated and was able to get it back in gear and get going.
I thought it was David Wall involved in it, and then another drama for Alex Prema. Just see too much of it.
Turn 17 for him, so didn't really get to unravel in my brain there precisely what occurred, but Prema, second time in 2 races that he's been involved in some strife there. So now Jonathan Webb's got Fabian Coulthard breathing all over him. This is for 9th and 10th. Michael Caruso's at the end of the train. Fastest first sector split also Jamie Whincup.
So they passed James Moffat. So Moffat was in front of this group before. So Webb, Coulthard still battling, and Fabian almost down the inside. That was very close at turn 11. He can't get 2 abreast through 12 and 13. He has to spear across the inside. Moffat's down the inside now. Lucky not to make contact, and Lowndes peppering the back of the Norton Falcon as they come down into 15 and 16. Again, this is this really fast section. And that was awkward with Webb and Coulthard. Webb goes off the road. He's way out offline. That was just a mistake. He ran in there too hot. He had the wheel locked. He couldn't get the car turned. He had to run it wide not to damage the tyre early in the race. Remember, 12 laps. Doesn't sound like it's a long way, but it's a very long circuit. And on soft tyres, look at this gap. Davison has taken a huge amount of time out of Whincup on that lap. Fastest lap of the race, 13.91. In fact, a 14.4 for Whincup, so he was half a second faster. This is a moment now for Whincup, locks the wheel.
This is the reason why he lost time on that lap. So the little lock-up plus clipping the curb and running wide was the reason that the margin tightened up. Super slow-mo. There are 7 of these curbs, and you'll pick them by the orange paint. In order to make lap speed, the guys are just having to throw the cars across those apexes as aggressively as they can and take the pain. It's the margin first, second and third. I noticed that on Fabian Coulthard's car, there's a little bit of damage in the, I think it's the left rear quarter panel on that car. It looked like it had taken a hit as well as we go inside the team Vodafone bunker. Notice Mark Larkham up the back watching television there. So the gap is 0.49 of a second between Jamie Whincup and Will Davison.
Hope he's enjoying it.
Yes, I hope you're enjoying the show, Larko. Thanks for coming. 13.9, fastest lap of the race for Will Davison. Shane Van Gisbergen, Mark Winterbottom. But this little battle here looks pretty exciting, doesn't it? So this is headed by Jonathan Webb at the moment, much as it was in the previous race, where I don't know that he had the ideal car balance. So he's 9th. Then Coulthard, Moffat, Lowndes, Courtney. We were looking from the rear bumper of James Moffat's Norton car then at Craig Lowndes, Kelly, Caruso. So that's Michael just on the end of this aggressive trail of cars. First to blink, that'll be the question here. Look at Lowndes just firing straight across and over those curbs, the car just taking a massive pounding. And again, in that case, it was the right side of the car was at what you'd call the traditional apex, where normally you would aim the other side of the car.
Lowndes a big understeer then in the middle of turn 15. And on the way into 16 there, it ran wide. Gets it turned right. This is on board with James Moffat looking back at Craig Lowndes. We've often made the comment that when Lowndes is behind you and harassing you, he does the Morse code. He bumps and he bumps and he bumps. And he's right in there applying maximum pressure to James Moffat.
Oh, out high and wide as Webb. So a little positional change just as we go to the break. 9th place now for Fabian Coulthard. Jonathan Webb is under siege. James Moffat attacking him into turn 1. So Whincup is the leader at the moment. 0.6 of a second with the fastest lap of the race of 13.8 on the soft tyre. They're flying around Yas Marina. So look at this now, as Lowndes tries to find a way around James Moffat, and I think he got tagged then. So I got a feeling that the back of Lowndes' car got a rub from James Courtney.
And Lowndes will be resuming that spot because he'll basically say he got bumped, he got pushed off, and to redress it, he'll go back into the area that he was in terms of that position. So I think he feels like that's fine, and probably James Courtney would agree because Courtney was a bit cheeky with the bump right in behind the rear wheel. So he's trying so hard to get down the inside again. There's going to be contact. Lee Holdsworth, meantime, has gone off at turn 9.
I've got 8 in the left rear.
So he locked the rear brakes then. So he was 6th when that happened. Now he's under pressure from the next group of cars. He's only just recovered. Well, that looked tight then, didn't it? So this is Kelly. Rick Kelly down the inside of James Courtney.
What's going to happen here? He bumped him. So Lowndes is off again. Or is that Moffat? I think that's Moffat. Yeah, Moffat off again then, because that was the same sort of thing that we saw. So I don't know whether that actually happened before the Lowndes piece or just as a consequence of the bump from Courtney. So
it was a bad sportsmanship flag also for Jonathan Webb for exceeding the track limits, and it's on again. James Moffat again displaced. So Rick Kelly up the inside. A bit hard to work out precisely who did what to who then.
We were on board and one of the cars was disappearing. We just heard that nasty skidding tyre noise. And Rick Kelly now moves into 13th position. So this battle that we've seen unfold there with Lowndes, Jonathan Webb, as we said, with the bad sportsmanship flag, Fabian Coulthard's moved forward, and then this nasty group is actually being joined by 3 cars on the end by Jason Bright, Russell Ingall and Steve Owen. They've joined this battle for what has been 9th position right through to 18th position. 9 cars involved in that train.
So 2 minutes 13.5, fastest lap of the race for Jamie Whincup. He's opened that margin out to nearly a second now. Gisbergen's still in 3rd, but Mark Winterbottom has benefited from the last couple of laps.
So not much in it. 13.5 versus a 13.6 on the previous lap.
We're back at Yas Marina. It is lap number 6 of 12. There's Lee Holdsworth, who locked the rear brakes and had a moment just a little while ago. He's 8th. He's in behind Tim Slade in front of Fabian Coulthard. This next group of cars have been pretty aggressive, as you can see some of the stuff that we've got for you lined up on replay. So Courtney into the back of Craig Lowndes. Lowndes having to shortcut, and then these two rearranged themselves again, got it sorted. Meantime, the fastest lap of the race, Jamie Whincup, at 2 minutes 13.5. This is another angle of the same thing. All those little tight squeezes at turn 8 and 9, and also 11, 12, 13, 14. Very easy for these guys to end up rubbing and pushing and shoving in those corners. Rick Kelly's moved up a spot as well. James Moffat's been in the thick of it. And Moffat at the moment is in 13th. He's behind Rick Kelly, you can see there, and that's James Courtney on the attack.
Boys, want to grab a quick yarn with Casey Stoner down here. Firstly, congratulations last weekend, mate, but we don't want to talk 2 wheels. We're here to talk 4 wheels. We talked earlier, and I'm impressed, mate. If you do get your butt eventually in one of these cars, you're going to make yourself aware of all the nuances and all the issues relating to these. They're a tough gig, aren't they?
They're not easy at all, and I think, you know, especially going from 2 to 4 wheels is, you know, it's a completely different world. So I can't expect to, you know, can be competitive in this. I think it's like starting something completely new. You know, I've got to earn it, and you know, and try and get myself somewhere. But you know, I've still got a lot of life ahead of me. I'm still pretty young to be retiring from one sport, but young enough, I think, to hopefully learn all the tricks of the trade for the new one.
All right, we're keen to see it a couple of years down the track, mate, up in there and getting into it. Good on you.
Cheers.
We already commented earlier what an extraordinary performance for Casey Stoner to have 6 victories at Phillip Island in the recent MotoGP event, and it will be great to have him in a V8 supercar at some stage. And that was the issue there with Lee Holdsworth. Couldn't really see whether there was any contact with Dave Reynolds or not, but it would be hard to have that spin by yourself.
And I did hear him on the radio talking about locking the rear brakes, so we'll find out more about that a little bit later on. But he's recovered. He's still in 8th position, Lee Holdsworth. Look at this. James Moffat still having a massive battle on his hands here. Position 13, James Courtney. Slade now up the inside of David Reynolds, and that is for position. So these two have been in a little battle. It's been going on for the last couple of laps. Look at the amount of curb hopping. So Whincup, Davison, Van Gisbergen, Winterbottom, Tander, Slade, Reynolds, Holdsworth, Coulthard.
Great job to play the eyes forward. You've got the pace to catch Tander.
And then Jonathan Webb is the 10.
It's Rod Nash, Bottle Racing, who is the racing entitlements contract holder for the Dave Reynolds FPR Run Falcon. Obviously, fantastic performance at Bathurst. And Dave Reynolds was one of the real winners at the start of this race. He moved up 3 positions from his starting grid, but Tim Slade now looks like he's got slightly better pace, was able to get by. And as you heard the little radio comment, keep going, Slady, you've got better pace than Tander. So that's Whincup, Davison, Van Gisbergen, Winterbottom, Tander, Slade, Reynolds. That gets you through to 7th. Lee Holdsworth after that mistake, or maybe some drama there at turn 8. And then this lively battle with Fabian Coulthard and Webb is the next group that fills out the top 10. Look at these incredible slow-mo pictures that we're showing you of 12 and 13 around the back. Forces that are exerted through the car and the body language of the car.
The initial speed, the velocity of the curb strike and the way that impacts the suspension is pretty remarkable. You can see the distortion in the tyre and throughout the entire suspension of the car. The track itself is just absolutely smooth, but when you take into account the curbs, when you start to relate how it looks compared to other race circuits, it's bumpy, but not because the track's bumpy, but because of the amount of curb that you have to take in these cars. But you can see that the racetrack itself is just absolutely smooth as.
Where was the sediment brought in from? Because it was a UK-based.
From Shropshire. Oh, true story. It was when they opened the circuit in 2009. There was a lot of information that was presented to the world motor racing media, and kept the file. There was a massive construction process to get this facility completed, and the surface was brought in, shipped in from the UK. And when we were talking earlier about just the size of the complex, just getting around the complex, you know, is really quite extraordinary. The facilities that have been provided just in the V8 Supercar support area are absolutely world class. It's Amazing. It's a little moment there. 13.4 fastest lap of the race. Jamie Whincup, 1.7 seconds is the margin. So they've changed tyre. They haven't changed the margin. Van Gisbergen's a little bit closer in this run. And remember that Winterbottom was charging and hurt for a little while by the traffic. He's in fourth in this race, and we're riding with him now on the front of the Orcon Steel Ford Performance Racing car. Campbell Little in the background. You heard 4 remaining. Let's ride with him. This is turn 1. So that's one complete lap, 5.5 kilometres, and the lap time for Frosty then was a 2-minute 14.4. So we're starting to see a little bit of tyre degradation here as well in this back end of the race on the soft tyre. 3 sets of them allocated for the weekend. This is Steve Owen, car number 49. He's 18th at the moment in this little train of cars. Jason Bright in the foreground, Michael Patrizzi right behind. There's some damage on the left rear corner there.
See it on Russell Ingall's car. So when we just saw the picture a second ago, there's a little bit of left-hand rear damage. You can just see at the top left-hand of the screen, and it's folded the inside of the rear air dam back in on the tyre, just rubbing away in there. It doesn't look like it's still fixed. There's a little tether that you just saw in that shot, so it's still fixed on the car. It won't, the whole of the back air dam won't come off, but it is rubbing on the tyre there.
Well, that was a dive bomb then from Steve Owen. He looked out down the inside at turn 7, but you could see the shallow line forced him wide on the exit. He's in that big battle with Michael Patrizzi. This is 18th and 19th for these guys. And coming back off the road from out wide in the dust, looked like Stephen Johnson there that was kicking up a lot of dust.
Guys, I wanted to grab a quick word with Dave Stewart. Dave, down here at Stone Brothers Racing, first time I can ever remember neither Ross or Jimmy Stone at a race meeting. How are you enjoying the responsibility, or the added responsibility here this weekend as team manager?
Yeah, it's disappointing, or not disappointing, but obviously Ross and Jimmy couldn't get here, so being team manager and looking after the whole show has been great. So far our performance has been good, so that's an added bonus.
Well, I love them dearly, but they might want to stay at home, mate, because the performance is very good.
Yeah, I spoke to Ross after qualifying yesterday. He said, that's it, I'm not going to Winton.
All right, mate, keep up the good work.
First time since 1996 that we've not seen Ross in the paddock at an event. He'll be watching glued to the telly at home on the Gold Coast for sure. Hope you're enjoying the coverage, Ross. And I can report that your men at the moment are in position 3. We've got Tim Slade in position 6 and Lee Holdsworth is in position 8. 2 3.7 seconds is the gap from Jamie Whincup to Will Davison. 13.9 the last lap for Jamie, the 14.0 for Will Davison, but everybody else after that, it's a big step down. So Van Gisbergen 14.9, mid 14 for Frosty, a 15.2 for Tander, 14.9 for Slade, 15.6 for Reynolds. So everybody after that's well into the 15s, so they're hurting their tyres.
Craig Lowndes there, 15.37, so 1.4 seconds slower than Whincup on the previous lap.
A bit of that's traffic effect as well. You tend to end up doing the speed of those around you. Clear air sometimes makes a big difference, but there's an enormous lap speed difference at the moment between Whincup and Davison. They're just off in their own universe. So a couple of laps remaining. So this will be potentially 99 wins for Holden Commodore VE in this remarkably successful chassis of Jamie Whincups that we spoke about in race 24.
Will Davison recording the steerings all over the place in car 6, which won't be helping his cause as he's 2.7 seconds behind Jamie Whincup. And those curbs will be the thing that will have done it, will have bumped those curbs in the wrong angle and maybe bent a steering arm or hurt one of the front A-arms or wishbones. And any of the geometry change doesn't need to make much effect to put the wheel alignment out. You can see how aggressive those curbs are. We've got the vision there of the cars spearing across them at 12 and 13. This is turn 14 around the back of the track. And quite an interesting corner that's about a 90k run to a 210km closing speed for 15 and 16, and then back to 3 90k corners that form the area in under the hotel. So we're on the final lap now with Jamie Whincup from Will Davison, Shane Van Gisbergen, Mark Winterbottom, Garth Tander, Tim Slade, Dave Reynolds, Fabian Coulthard, Jonathan Webb. That's your top 10. Craig Lowndes is 11, as I said before, and we're on board with a man who has been so dominant here. And you can see the brains trust with Mark Dutton, Adrian Burgess and Jeremy Moore looking on, Casey Stoner in the background. And he has just been so good here, Croppo, hasn't he? The grip level is low. With the soft tyre, it's better than it was, obviously, than with the hard tyre. But look at those gaps that he's been able to pull out this margin on Will Davison. And whenever they roll it out here, he's got a really dexterous feel for the car, hasn't he? You know, when the grip level's low, you've got to drive the car to that limit. And it's almost like the wet weather in some ways, isn't it?
Well, we've talked before about his throttle treatment and his inputs to the steering of the car. You can see his hands at the top of the wheel there. He's not one of those guys that seesaws in the steering wheel. He's not one of those guys that when you look at what he does with his feet, he doesn't stab at the car. He just flows the car. He's gentle on it, and I think it serves him well. They set the car up obviously well. They provide him with a very good machine, but he drives it well, and he gets the most out of it. He's basically taken off in his own realm, lap speed-wise. You can see that he's dropped Will off here in this final lap. And you just got to look at the results here, because this is the 6th race for him, isn't it, here? And he came in with 4 victories. 3 of the 4 that he's done here he's won coming into this race weekend. He grabbed another one in race 24, and he's about to grab another. So whatever it is, whatever the magic potion is that Jamie stitches together, pretty impressive. So this is potentially taking him on to 10 race wins for 2010 and his 5th here at Yas Marina. It's unbelievable performance. 1 corner remaining now for the Team Vodafone Pilot. Championship leader is in the business of stretching that championship lead at the moment, and he's inching closer to the 2012 title. Congratulations, Jamie Whincup. Well done. Brilliant drive. 2.8 seconds back to Will Davison. And Frosty got closer in the end. But these guys are unstoppable. Battle continues between Coulthard and Lowndes. Craig looks. Fabian covers. And this is the result for position 10. And it looks like it'll fall in favour of Coulthard, but only just in the final analysis. So race win number 62 for Jamie Whincup. And there's the man that's runner-up again. They changed tyres, as I said a little bit earlier, but it didn't make an awful lot of difference. Here's the unofficial result. Whincup to Davison, just a little under 3 seconds in the final analysis. Winterbottom got very close to Van Gisbergen in the last lap. Tander, Slade, Reynolds, Holdsworth recovering from either the spin or the tag. We're not sure. Webb, then Coulthard. Lowndes didn't get in the 10 at the final corner, but he went very close. Kelly, Moffat, Courtney, Caruso, Ingle, Bright, Patrizzi, D'Alberto and Steve Owen. And you can see that wasn't a great run for Greg Murphy once again. We're going to take a break from Abu Dhabi, and when we come back, we'll catch up with those that were successful in race number 25. Stay with us. You're watching V8 Supercars from Yas Marina in the Middle East at Abu Dhabi. Hope you're enjoying it. So the door open for Jamie Whincup, just to try and get a bit of cool air into that cabin once again and to acknowledge the crowd. And this will have Will Davison scratching his head a little bit. Here's a bit of contact earlier between Webb and Coulthard. This was quite early on, as I recall. This is the one where I think Webb had to take evasive action. So the boys are going on with it a bit here. They're feeding wheels into each other. And eventually Jono has to concede and go left of that bollard. Otherwise it'd do massive damage on the front of the car.
A few ugly moments through the field. And a big spin there for Murphy on the last lap. That was very strange. It was like he caught the slippery paint on the outside.
He was a winner last weekend in New Zealand. I'm sure our Kiwi viewers are watching us. He had a great run in Pukekohe. He's not having a strong run here so far this weekend in the Mid-East. So these top three cycle their way around the circuit, acknowledging the crowd, and find their way back to the podium area. And just a superlative performance, and quite rightly picked up mark on the style and the way in which Jamie Whincup approaches the task. Yes, the car's good. Yes, they set it up well. Often strategies very well executed at Team Vodafone. But in the end, he just drives the car well.
He certainly does. He's at the top of his game. He makes very, very few mistakes. He starts a better this weekend. We've been critical of his starts this year. Both starts so far have been very, very good. The jump in that race was even better than on the hard tyre, and obviously hard to get these cars away when the variance of tyre grip is there for the drivers to deal with, and that tyre grip makes a big difference in the initial jump and the way that you release the clutch and apply the throttle and make the car walk away. And that initial jump again for Whincup was very, very good, and he was able to not get caught up with Will Davison as much. Shane Van Gisbergen was very strong again on the first lap. I think they're probably starting those tyre pressures a little high on the Stone Brothers car this weekend. They were very good at the start, not so good at the end. Mark Winterbottom forged his way right up behind. He was only half a second behind Shane Van Gisbergen when we closed this 12-lap event. Jamie Whincup acknowledging the crowd.
Well done, boys. I know the last thing you need is us.
Welcome back to Abu Dhabi. It's win number 5 for Jamie Whincup in the Middle East. An extraordinary run for him here in Abu Dhabi. Yas Marina, he's so in sync with the circuit, and he's eased out his points margin as you'd expect. Here's the run to the checkered flag, steps it up over the curb, came home again with a margin of 2.8 seconds over Will Davison, so it's a carbon copy of the previous race. A beautiful run. You made the remark in the race as he flicks the door open to circulate some air in the cabin. There's going to be massively hot in there, that he's just driving the car so well, so confidently at the moment. 270 points is now the gap. Remember, we came in here this weekend with a gap of 218 points. Craig Lowndes, position 3, minus 337, and Will Davison is closing the margin ever so slowly.
Yeah, and Neil, I might just try and interrupt and grab a quick word with Frosty. Mate, Jamie edging away, 270 points ahead now in the championship. And I know you'd be frustrated, mate. Your car's quite fast, but he's going to take some catching at the moment. You seem to have their measure, and he's crept away again.
Yeah, I haven't got the speed here. I'm struggling here. Just trying to do what I can to try and maintain my position. But, you know, Gold Coast were very fast. I thought I had a car that was capable of winning there. Winton's our home track, and obviously Sydney's Sydney. So, you know, it's not over, but, yeah, whenever you have a bad day, he's winning, and when he has a bad day, he's still second. So that's probably why he's won the championship the last few years.
All right, mate, nut it out tonight, tune her up, you'll be back tomorrow. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Ta.
Mark Winterbottom with Mark Larkham. It's a very good point, because Jamie's lows are not very low.
That's right.
And you look at the number of wins, for example, of the man in the middle of the screen there, Will Davison. He's done a great job of winning, but on his bad days, they have been bad, and that's what's hurt his championship campaign in 2012.
Well, certainly, and in the long distance races, mostly, you know, that 900 points across the endurance races really hurt Will Davison's charge. He was so competitive earlier in the year, and what you said's 100% correct, Neil. The Jamie Whincup performance is just week in, week out, ultra professional, and the way that he gets the best from himself and the team, and the guys do a great job with him. They engineer the car very well. They do a very, very good job of minimising the risk, and this game is all about thinking on your feet, and they are very good at that.
So we're standing by to bring the boys out on the podium to celebrate the performance in race number 25. It's an extraordinary job again by Jamie Whincup. Can't say enough. 10 race victories for him in 2012. Moves his career tally on to 62. He's going to get up near your numbers very shortly, MS, if he keeps this march. Great performance. Well done, boys. Fantastic trophies being presented to the boys for their journey to the Middle East. Mark Dutton joining Jamie Whincup, and that's an amazing partnership. There's an unspoken language between these two, between Whincup and Dutton. They get on brilliantly, they understand each other, and they seem to get the best out of each other.
They certainly do, and that rapport, they're once-in-a-lifetime relationships between engineers and drivers, and certainly Mark Dutton has evolved into a world-class engineer and someone that's helped Jamie Whincup. And don't discount the performance of Shane van Gisbergen this weekend, Neil. He's been very, very good. From the time they wheeled out, the cars have been strong. We saw Dave Stewart comment through the race about how they're going, and it's great to see Stone Brothers up there and in contention with their Falcons. Amazing facility, isn't it?
Hot, hard work for those guys too in those conditions out there at the moment. 33 degrees, cool suits or not. Hard yards for them. Hear from the boys very shortly. There's Dave Stewart on the left, Ben Croak on the right. Peter Wallace in the blue shirt. Nice job for these guys, and as we talked about it earlier after race 24, a bit of a bounce back too, because they've been a bit up and down in their consistency and performance. So there's a lot to take from this for them.
And that was Ryan Madison from Erebus Motorsport, who will be heading up the AMG relationship and the new joint venture with Stone Brothers in 2013 when they race the E-Series Mercedes-Benz.
Now the drivers will be interviewed on the podium by Mark Beretta.
JB, congratulations. 6 times we've raced here. You have now won 5 of them. It's an incredible achievement.
Thanks, Brett. Of course, coming a long way from Australia, it's always a pleasure to race here on such an unbelievable track, and to have 5 wins here is pretty special.
One more race to go tomorrow. You've got the hard tyres, you've been through that. The softs, you've got the handle on now. You're confident about tomorrow?
Hey, so far so good. Obviously, to win around here, you've got to have a very, very good car. I had that today. I'm sure the other boys will make some tweaks overnight to their suspension to go a bit quicker. So we're going to have to step our game up tomorrow. But I'm confident the boys back in the team can do a good job, and we can come out strong tomorrow.
Great for your championship too. Well done, Jamie Whincup. Will Davison, great for you. You've been competitive both these races now. Of course, you're on pole again tomorrow. Tomorrow, maybe top step?
Yeah, definitely. We want to go top step tomorrow. So, 3 poles and we've had 2 seconds. So, of course, we're a bit disappointed. But, we've maxed out. The car's pretty good. It only needs a very small tweak, and I'm sure we can get up and put on a really good show with Jamie tomorrow. So, that's the aim of the game tonight.
You've obviously enjoyed racing at this circuit.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be here with the Formula One. It's great to see so many people out here, particularly, interested in the V8 supercars. So, we want to put on a good show for you tomorrow. I definitely want to be on that top step.
You're doing just that. Shane Van Gisbergen, congratulations on the podium once again. This is turning into a big championship weekend for you. These are important points.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be on the podium. Twice in a day is very cool, but we tried to run with the front 2 here, but I couldn't quite hang on to them, and we suffered with the tyres at the end, and I had Mark Winterbottom catching me, but I think he got within a second, but we need to make a few tweaks just to try and match these front guys, but it's good to be on the podium both days. Thanks to the guys, they've done a great job, and we'll see what we got tomorrow.
And Shane, I know you're very proud to see that New Zealand flag up there as well.
Yeah, definitely a cool moment, but we'll try and get the anthem there tomorrow too.
Jamie, final question to you. We are talking about championship this time of the year. This is important for you. You're almost locking it down at this stage. 270-point lead.
Yeah, we've got obviously a race tomorrow and 2 more rounds to go back in Australia. So it's all tightening up, but. Hey, it's just all about tomorrow at this stage. That's all that's on my mind. I love this place. It's a pleasure to be here, and fingers crossed the crowd can come out and support us again tomorrow.
Guys, congratulations. Well done. Shane Van Gisbergen, Will Davison, Jamie Whincup.